MP for Slough. Morning, Tan. Hi, Tan.
Hello, good morning, Andrew.
Good morning. A few months ago, Slough had a real problem with coronavirus, and it's much better now. But with these rises in cases we're seeing elsewhere, people in Slough have got to be super vigilant so we don't end up back there, haven't they?
Definitely, Andrew. And first of all, I'd like to thank and congratulate the good people of Slough. Because of our collective effort, we have managed to make sure that we are no longer on the government's watch list. So that is excellent news for all of us. What it does mean that we will not, unlike in some of the other northern towns, we won't be going into a partial lockdown or any other stricter measures. But what it does mean is that we cannot be complacent, because the virus is still very much still amongst us. And if we are not careful, we will go back to where we were before. You will know, Andrew, when we discussed previously, there was a time at the outset that Slough was a hotspot, but now, thankfully, we have moved on, and I think long may that continue.
Did we ever really understand what was going on there? Is this in the end down to Slough being a place where people are living in quite close proximity, often with many generations of a family living in the same house? Is that why Slough had more infections than other towns in this area?
Well, look, I think one is that Slough is such a huge business hub. So you've got tens of thousands of people coming into Slough and going out every single day. A lot of key workers living in Slough, lots of people who are working. Even with the introduction of the furlough scheme, Slough actually had one of the highest number of people on furlough. So we had 18,900 people within the Slough constituency that were actually put on furlough. And I think also the fact that we are so close to Heathrow, lots of thousands of people go to work at Heathrow. So there was several factors contributing. And I think initially people may not have taken the virus as seriously. It was only when fatalities and other things hit us all, that's when people realised, oh my God, we've got to take this seriously.
Right. Obviously a huge number of people in your constituency work at Heathrow or work in businesses that are reliant on the success of Heathrow. Heathrow send up distress flare after distress flare for how badly they're being affected by the lack of travel going on at the moment. How is that trickling down to employment in Slough?
Well, the likes of me have been demanding for months now for an aviation sector specific deal. Unfortunately, the government have not listened on that regard. The airlines and the airports themselves have been saying that they need a more focused quarantining system and actually to be testing people. Unfortunately, that the government has been too slow again on that as well, and that has had a devastating impact on jobs. I've recently been involved in demos with the likes of EasyJet staff, BA staff, and Donata Catering and others, because of the inaction of the government or their slow progress. What it has meant is that now companies are beginning to make thousands and thousands of people redundant, or they are firing and rehiring them at a lot worse terms. So it's going to have a devastating impact on our local economy. Andrew, there's no two ways about that.
Right. And just finally, as you go back to work at Westminster, a year ago, your party was led by Jeremy Corbyn. You were pretty close to Jeremy Corbyn personally. You worked directly for him, and my sense always was that you agreed with him about most things. You're now led by Sir Keir Starmer, who has a totally different policy agenda, who believes many things that are quite different to what Jeremy Corbyn would have been saying 12 months ago. Do you agree with him about everything?
Well, Andrew, I'm not a factional individual. I'll take each issue as it goes. For the first 2.5 years, or for my first term in Parliament, I was not on the front bench. I was only given the honour and privilege of being the PPS to Jeremy after the last election in 2019. So for 3 months, I was his PPS. But now I have been given the honour to be the Shadow Rail Minister by Sir Keir Starmer, and I am most grateful to him. And look, I am always a good critical friend, but I would work constructively with all colleagues, because we need to get rid of this inept Tory government, which is making a screeching U-turn after screeching U-turn. We've had more than a dozen U-turns returns, and now the oven-ready deal that was supposed to be there in terms of Brexit, we now hear that that is no longer on the table.
I hear all of that. I mean, I didn't. You're entitled to attack the government, of course, but just back to your own party for a sec. It is like a totally different organisation than it was a year ago. I'm not wrong in saying that.
I think what Keir actually brings in is that he's a safe pair of hands. And I think each leader would bring their own style, their own policy platform. And we've been working very, very closely as a front bench with Sir Keir to make sure that we have those policies fit for the party going forward to ensure that there's a Labour government in the next election. But yeah, Keir, I think he's somebody who's got an eye for detail. He's forensic, and you will have seen that, no doubt, Andrew, when you would have watched PMQs. On the one end, you've got the blustering, bumbling Boris Johnson, and then on the other end, you've got a QC, a former Director of Public Prosecutions, who is literally tearing every single incompetence of the government, and he's laying that bare for all of us to see.
They're still ahead of you in the opinion polls, but anyway, thank you very much indeed, Tan, for coming on this morning. Always good to catch up with you. Thanks a lot.
Likewise, thank you.
Tan Dessy is the Labour MP for Slough. It's 14.